Yesterday, the CDC issued a moratorium on evictions nationwide. Now, I didn't even know the CDC had the authority to do this, let alone the balls. But what we're going to look at today is what that means for renters, what that means for landlords, who it applies to, and how this might resolve itself and how it might evolve moving forward. Let's dive in. All right, so I will link in the description below. I will link the actual issuance by the CDC so you can go and read it for yourself. But essentially, there is a moratorium on evictions right now through the end of the year nationwide, and it's different than the last eviction moratorium because the last time it only affected landlords or renters for housing under like federal assistance. And so this time it applies to all renters as long as they qualified to get a stimulus check when those stimulus checks were handed out. And so, it just means that landlords can't evict renters for not paying their rent up through the end of the year, at least for now. So they can still evict them for other reasons like property damage or things like that. But if it's just for non-payment of rent, can't evict them. Now, the order also says it does not waive the obligation of the renter to actually pay their rent. So basically, this means that come January, there will be, a big back payment that, supposedly will be coming through from all the renters who have been not paying their rent and living rent free. Now, it's shocking to me that under the Trump administration, we've seen some of the most socialism we've ever seen in this country from a president, maybe since FDR. But we've seen, actual universal basic income. We've seen nationalization of the credit markets. We've seen nationalization of businesses and industries. Now we're seeing a cancellation of evictions, which means that they're basically canceling rent, at least for now. And this is a problem because these things are all slippery slopes. You don't backtrack from these things very easily, and so you get yourself into a trap. Because, well, number one, if anybody is in the position right now as a renter where you can't pay your rent, how are you going to be able to save up all of that money for the next couple of months through the end of the year to be able to pay it all back in one lump sum once this eviction moratorium ends? And let's say it does end and they can't pay their rent back from everything that they owed, and so they get evicted. Well, that just puts landlords at the mercy of, they have to foot the bill. Now, I've talked about real estate many times on this channel and talked about how I still believe it's a great investment, and especially for single family residences, not commercial real estate, but single family residences. It's inflation protected, and we have the current political climate and the amount of money that comes in from business investors all around the country in order to influence laws. We have a very pro-real estate government. And so personally, I would be shocked if this doesn't resolve itself with some sort of federal money, if directly given to landlords to compensate for the unpaid rent due to the eviction moratorium. Because normally, in normal circumstances, if you're a landlord, you've got a renter who's not paying their rent, you just evict them, right? And normally, if you've got a renter that's not paying rent and you have to evict them, you're not getting that money back if they go, a month or two of missed rent, because they didn't pay the rent for a reason. They don't have the money. So you could take them to court if you can find them, if they didn't flee the state or whatever, but ultimately they still have to get the money somehow in order to give it to you. And so most of the times it's the landlords footing the bill. And so that's why, that's one of the things. It's kind of like the skin in the game, the risk versus the reward. There's entrepreneurs, landlords, business owners, the capitalists are the ones that are taking on the risk of losing money. And so that's why they're compensated with the reward. And so when you take away the potential reward and you take away the risk of any consequences on the part of the customer or the renter in this case, then but also you don't compensate for all that, then you're really just placing all that on the landlord. And I 100% I think any big companies are going to be made whole, through programs or spending, or new bills, or direct handouts. But what really worries me here is actually the small landlord, the people with the 2, 3, 4, 10, even up to 100 units that aren't massive companies and massive corporations. They're just kind of people who have built up portfolios of real estate over time. So this order does not apply to any states that already have more extreme measures in place. And so if they already have any restrictions on evictions that are at least as extreme as this order does not apply to those states. So if you are a landlord and you're in a state that already has something like this or worse, this doesn't change anything for you at all, other than potentially this will resolve itself with now some federal money coming your way in order to compensate you from all of the money that you would have been out because maybe the state didn't have something like that in place. And so ultimately, at this point, when I'm like looking at this, relatively new, and digesting the information and researching it, and wondering myself, what is this do to my outlook on real estate? Number one, it does make me more cautious. And so if I'm not a real estate investor right now, and if I'm considering buying a rental property, I'm holding off right now because it looks uncertain to me. As an owner of real estate, it's making me say, hold right now, right? So it's from a buy, hold, sell perspective, I'm not at the place yet where I'm saying, hey, this could make me want to sell, because ultimately, especially Trump's background, being a real estate guy and understanding, his pro business, at least his pro business rhetoric, I would be surprised if this ends up in resulting in many landlords going bankrupt or losing their properties, or just being left to foot that bill. Simply because asset prices, especially real estate prices, are kind of key in the whole political climate right now. And so a lot of homes right now, if you start to see, mass foreclosures or home sales from, all the landlords that, have been left footing the bill for paying all the mortgages that their renters aren't paying anymore, and they can't evict them to get new renters in. If they're left footing that bill and they have to liquidate their properties, that's going to be a big downward pressure on the real estate market. And so no politician wants that right now. And so who knows? Crazier things have happened, and so that's why when you look at kind of like a buy, hold, sell rating on real estate right now, I'm kind of at a hold, kind of at a wait and see. It could absolutely get to the point if we go, a month, 2 months, 3 months, and nothing has changed, and it does look like nothing is going to be done to make landlords whole. Then yeah, I might have to flip my stance, and I might have to, kind of eat my words a little bit and reverse. It will look like real estate will have moved from one of the best investments in the last couple of decades in America to one of the worst, because it's, if it doesn't produce cash flow for you, and you have people living in your house that aren't paying for it, and you have potentially damage that you can't pay for, you're just left paying a mortgage. Why would you hold an asset like that? Why would you hold an investment like that? It just wouldn't be worth it. And so there are plenty of countries around the world that have far better real estate offerings than a situation like that. And any place that has tried to sustain some of these crazy things for long periods of time, it's not good for the renters, because you stop having landlords in that case, and then the government takes over. And have you ever wanted to live in government housing? No, it's anything provided by the government is never anywhere near the quality or the right quantity as something that a free market can provide. And so if it would, that's where it would go. It would devolve into a nationalization of basically all housing, because you would have, there would be no reason for free market participants, for landlords to stay in the game. And so I do not think that that's where it will go. Who knows? It could. And so right now, kind of waiting and seeing, and want to see. In the statement, Trump did say that there was money that was set aside for landlords, specifically in this case. But we'll see. There was also, supposed to be money set aside from the last stimulus bill for small businesses, and it just the delivery of top-down centralized plans in order to try and rescue things never works according to plan, and it never gets where it needs to go, the amount that it needs to go there, and the speed at which it needs to get there. And so we'll see. Right now, holding back, digesting the information, at least from my perspective. Not a time to sell yet. It could absolutely get there, and so we'll just have to wait and see how this thing unfolds. And as any new information comes out, I'll obviously make new videos about it to let you guys know what I'm seeing come across the board. And so if you are in a little bit of a skittish place right now as a landlord, maybe you have 1 or 2 properties and you are not in a position where you want to wait and see, maybe your renters aren't paying your rent, you want to get out while you can, you don't want to wait for prices to potentially plummet before you try and sell, and it's a rental property, a really good resource to do that is roofstock.com. And I'll put a link in the description below if you want to sell that. They walk you through the whole process. It's a website that allows buyers and sellers to. It's like a marketplace. It's like kind of like Zillow, but just for investors. And so they'll help you out with the whole listing process and get everything they need from you. And the process is pretty smooth. They make it really easy to sell an investment property. So I encourage you to go open an account with them, a free online profile, and just at least go through the initial listing discussion with them to see, kind of what they think your house could sell for, and what the time frame might look like, if that's something that you're needing any assistance with. And if you're on the other side of this and you're looking at this and saying, hey, when things, when there's blood in the streets, it's time to buy. Be greedy when others are fearful. If you're looking at this and thinking this might be a good opportunity to get some properties while people are trying to sell, looking at things getting better down the road, not worse. You want to buy an investment property right now. Again, Roofstock, great resource to do that. Again, use my link. It's in the description below, and I do get a little bit of a financial kickback from that as well. So as always, I really appreciate you guys watching. As new info comes out, I'll let you know. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. Have a great day.